um, I'm just out Roni, and with a bit of tea, and thought that I would do a video on food aggression and hooking on with a horse because it's a question that popped up recently about um, and I've had it a few times, so it's not the first time, it's not the only time, and I'm sure that there'll be times in the future people will ask about what do I do with my horse, that comes in, or some horse that's boarded or whatever that comes in, label. Well, they've essentially, what happens is, to describe it in a very sort of layman's way, I guess, is so much. I think I just on internet. Okay, we're back. I think. Ooh. The internet connection is a little spotty, based on which one I'm connected to. Okay, so hopefully we're up. I'll give it a second. Okay, so food aggression with horses. Essentially, the horse wants to eat so much that it doesn't want to respect your space, which can be very dangerous. The story that I was told was very serious. Um, Somebody got very hurt, which is actually quite common. I've heard stories of feet broken, hips broken, collarbones broken, collarbones broken, concussions, um, arms broken, finger broken, bruises, the typical stuff that happens when people get squished by a horse. They're 1,000 pounds, maybe not that thing, that one. She's a little less. Um, but still, 700, 800 pounds with power, you know, to be kicked, to be actively pushed over. Hi, baby. What are you doing? Tea? Huh? Good girl. Um, when they're coming in and they really just don't have any respect for your space. Pin their ears, uh, turn their butt, put their shoulder into you. I'm a little tired to death. Just finished dealing with 4 horses. One of those horses is a little bit, a little rough, just a little bit scared. So, the thing that we have to think about. So we know what, okay, so let's break it up. We know what starts it. We know what's the catalyst for it. You bring out some grain, you've got some hay in a bag or flakes or something like that. Horse comes over and immediately kind of gets in your space, takes the food. I've heard stories about how some horses are reaching over people's shoulders and grabbing food out of, an arm load or something like that. Apples, carrots, all kinds of, tasty things that the horses are going to be all over, naturally so. All of those behaviors, it doesn't matter if it's just hanging around too close. What are you doing? Isn't she cute? Okay, let's come on this side. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Now I'm watching her. Okay, so she's off. The behaviors that we want to catch, they don't start with the idea that they're kind of reaching over your shoulder or something. Which side are you gonna go on? Let's adjust the camera a little. Let's put you way over there. Okay, I'm over here. So it's if the horse has got to the place where they're reaching over your shoulder, whether they're coming around and they're kind of moving their butt or they're, do any of those things, there's already been a series of items that have been missed. And you're in a case where you now have to label them as food aggressive. Um, and I would say that every horse on the planet, given the opportunity, would be food aggressive. All of them. It doesn't matter how fat, skinny, well fed, not fed, in a great situation, in a pasture or whatever, they all have the ability to say, I want that more than you. Because that's what it comes down to, is whether or not they think they can get what you have from you without waiting for you to leave or make some space or even just invite them in. So it's unfortunate that there's so many horses out there that get to a place where they're so in your face with our desire to have them sort of in our pocket, or our desire to have them snuggle up closer, be friends. And instead of correcting the spatial behavior, the idea that you've got a space, you've got a circle around you that says, hey, don't come into this space. I'm not cool with that. I weigh, 180 pounds or something. There are many kids even that weigh much less. And a few that weigh a few more, but it doesn't matter because they're still at least 5 times heavier than us. Plus power. And so we have to treat food aggression less about the food and less about aggression and more about whether or not we have our space respected. And so to anybody that sort of has the issue where they're saying, look, my horse gets into, I bring some food out and they don't control themselves and so on and so forth. Whatever they do when you don't have food, if it's good, it should maintain when you have food. So that's going to take a little time to get figured out maybe. Okay, go to that side. So food aggression can be pretty scary because usually you have your hands full and you're thinking you'd like not to lose the food. And so the solution sometimes is to maybe carry a stick, carry something sort of scary, a crop, a stick, a whip, something that something that is discouraging, a rope even, you swing a rope around. So you get to the place where you can now keep them away, but their mindset is still on the idea that they can do that, because you don't want to have to carry that around all the time. You don't want to have to maintain holding essentially a weapon, some kind of aid, to just get what should be good, respectful behavior. So I labeled this stream as food aggression and hooking on, because what we're looking for is not just dealing with keeping them away, but we also want them to be hooked on, to be connected up while we do these things. Because they can tune out, I suppose they could tune out as well, but likely they're not. So the mixture that we have to sort of, or the two things that we sort of have to mix together to create this mixture of good horse behavior and good horsemanship, is where we take the idea that they can, be around you, but they should be waiting, and they should be asking, along the ways, is it okay now? Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Can I come in now? Not, I'm coming in now. I'm coming in, that sort of in your face or in your space sort of attitude needs to switch up to, hey, is it okay? What do you say? Is it good now? How about now? Is that cool? That's a hooked on horse. And the two go hand in hand. I don't believe that you can have that respect in any space, let alone coming in with food, if you don't have them sort of hooked on to what you're giving off, the impression of this is what I want. This is how I'm going to get it. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Whoa. Check this out. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it though. Look at that. When planes do that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Clear blue sky today. It's a beautiful day. Really, really nice day. Fantastic. Anyhow, so the question that was posed to me is, how do I deal with a horse that is food aggressive? And one of my answers back was, well, you've got to get the horse to hook on to you. You've got to get the horse to, be with you rather than wanting to not be with you. But not with you enough that it's in your space. So there has to be a level of respect. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense still. But the pre-explanation to how I got there, I think, is sort of coming together in my own mind of how to demonstrate such a thing. In fact, what do you say? Let's try this. Let's do this now. Just 1 minute. Zeus is busy. Okay, I've got my flake of hay. There's actually a bear kind of wandering. A couple days ago we saw just a small bear. I don't know why I did this, but it's a small bear back there, and way back there. Zeus is nuts. Okay, so here's my hay. So I already know how Macaroni's going to act. I actually don't have any idea of how Gracie will act. So you guys are going to find out. Let's see if I can frame this like so. Okay, I'm going to head into there, and I'll show you guys hopefully what I mean based on each horse of how. Who's that guy? All right. Okay, so now there's a difference between these two horses, and hopefully you guys can hear me. This guy is well hooked on. He's paying attention to the things that I want him to do, and he's very responsive. Gracie is not. I've never done this with her before, so it's a good test. You guys can't see them, but those two over there, Lena, paying close attention. It's really great to be able to train or work with horses while other horses are around. Now, I hope that that was visible. Gracie needs a little bit of work. I definitely think I'd work with that a little bit more. But while I was able to ask her to go away and make some space away from me, I didn't have to use a lot of action, mostly. A couple times I had to make a little bit more noise and sort of slap my leg a little bit, or, you know, I could have got bigger. But mostly she listened. Mostly she did pretty good. So the idea being that I'm asking for my space to be respected, but I want her to hook on so that when I ask her to come back, or I ask her to stay, or I ask her to back up, or I ask her to move around, she's thinking and listening, not ignoring me. If you saw any spot there, and this will be obviously recorded and kept on YouTube, so if you want to look back, there's a couple of times where she sort of gave me her butt. Now, in some cases you can get kind of pushy towards that sort of behavior. You don't want the butt, you want the head. But when she did leave, she kind of turned herself and brought herself back. So I'll try to draw her in. There's going to be a balance in these situations where you've got to be able to drive them off and draw them back. That draw will then allow you to continue to have a conversation with them. So, and they'll be interested in it. They'll want to know what you want them to do, because essentially they want to get what they want to get. You know, they get a treat at the end, hopefully. You know, you don't always have to give it to them. You can take the hay right back out, say thanks, that was good training, I'm out, good luck. So anyways, I guess that's tea time live stream, talking about making sure that the horses, that you're safe. Essentially, in the end, what we're really looking for is for you to be safe, not get yourself squished or hurt in any way, that the horses will listen, and they won't invade your space in a way that would cause you to cause them to be afraid. We don't want them afraid. So to go with that, actually, I'll run with a few thoughts here. When we're with the horses, and you're doing something and they're scary, and you kind of say, whoa, that's really scary, I don't know if I can handle that, and they get a little bit more scared, and then you get more scared, which will cause a bigger reaction. Our horses are incredibly good at seeing our feelings and our thoughts and how we do things and how we think and how we talk and how much we're breathing and how much we're frustrated or quiet or calm or confident. Hey, I'm busy here. Ugh. There's something back there. We should take a look. Maybe we should just take a quick look. Get a change of scenery too. Let's go see what Zeus is going on about. Anything, buddy? Eyes. Is this somebody else's dog? There's a dog over there. The neighbor's dog escapes the yard a lot, and then comes over this way and steals stuff, actually. What a pain in the butt. Okay, anyways, let's hopefully the Wi-Fi holds up over here. You guys might be able to hear the sheep next door. Put you here. Yeah. What'd you get, Zeus? He's out. All right. You guys can look at Lena looking at us. So, the more we get afraid, the less confident we feel, the more concerned we are. I don't know if this tripod's going to manage here. Oh. There, okay. The more that they get confident in that they can do something to you. So it definitely takes practice, but in a situation like this, I mean, I'm not really worried about these two. They're pretty well domesticated. But there are horses out there that you can't, really get a lot. So you have to continue to work the drive, draw, drive, draw, drive, draw. And where your draw has an effect of where they're looking forward to you being there. Feeling. It's a confident and safe place for them to be. Because it's not food that draws horses in. I mean, they're hungry. Or draws them in and to feel safe. Essentially, it's going to be you or another horse that says, I'll take care of you, don't worry, you can relax, you can have a sleep even. That's why in a lot of my videos I show that I can go out and hang out with my horses and they'll lie down or they'll roll or they might even sleep, because it shows how comfortable they feel, and that's a really good thing. So Anyways, let's see if I've got any comments here. Oh, I got quite a few, you guys. Hello, Lori. Yes, Zeus is going crazy. Or he was. Now he's just hanging out over there. If you watch the herd, they have a pecking... Hey, come back. They have a pecking order. Let's see. All messages. You should be at the top. Yes, it's true. You should be at the top. The horses have to wait for you to invite them to eat. If a horse takes food from you, they don't respect you. It's completely true. This comment is completely and wholly valid. If a horse has come over to just take food from you, you have to... Watch out, buddy. You have to consider, is what that horse doing to you, would they do it to the top of the herd? The head horse? Would they go over to the head horse and just grab some food from them? And the answer is likely no way. No way on earth would they do that. Not without asking. And so when you observe, which is why I put out a lot of observation videos, is so that you can observe the lower horses talking to the higher horses and the higher horses talking to the lower horses. And it will make sense, hopefully, how the lower horses should be talking to the higher horses. Hello, Kay. Good morning from Malaysia. Sweet. I've never been to Malaysia. Be kind of cool to go. Okay, Kay says, I know you might not remember. Of course, the one in... Yes, I do remember you. The one in the wheelchair. I mean, there's lots of people that ride even though they're in wheelchairs. So good on you for being interested in horses and stuff. Horses are the most beautiful creature. They sure are. They're very beautiful. So what do you do if they invade your space, push you, and don't respond, and you're getting bigger and making noise? Good question. If you're taking food in, and I'm sure I could probably replicate this problem. I could teach a horse to invade my space consistently enough so that when they do come in, they will think that they can push me around. But I don't know if I'd be able to replicate it properly. But I have had a horse here who was so brave and so confident and had consistently invaded its owner's space and other human space enough that it didn't even think that there would ever be a problem with getting in my space. So I would say this with caution, because your safety is number one. We as the human are responsible for us and any other human around our horses. The human safety, in my opinion, the human safety is number one and always will be number one. Bottom line. It doesn't mean you put yourself in a situation that is unsafe. So that is going to be, I mean, it's kind of subjective. You know, what are you going to do? It's not objective. Like, this is unsafe and this isn't. In some cases, it's kind of gray. So you have to be aware that you may be putting yourself in an unsafe situation. And if the horse is known to be dangerous, then you know you're going into an unsafe situation, and you have to be willing to do what you need to do. So I would say, if you go into a space like I did there with the hay, and say, for example, Gracie continued to push. She started, you know, bowing up and arching her neck, and her head's coming in and her ears are going back. And all I had on me was hay. And, you know, I'm making a noise, and I'm waving my hands, and I'm maybe hitting my leg, and she's getting worse. Okay? Maybe now she's starting to turn her shoulder in, and when the shoulder is in, next up is the butt. If I don't make a move, I know this is going to happen. This is me placing myself in a position of danger. I've been there. So, if I feel like I can't follow through with making sure this horse can get out of my space, then I have to come back to it later, because I'm not going to risk myself. If I feel that I have something on me that I can use, maybe I brought my lead rope in, maybe there's a stick nearby or something like that I can wave in the air and essentially make some space between me and the horse. Right? Because if we think about it, there's that age-old saying, put my tea down for a second. There's that age-old saying, if you can stay just this far away from a horse's foot when they go to kick, you're safe. So if a horse's leg is, however long, I got to be able to make that space. So if I don't have anything on me that allows me to make that space, then I'm going to get out. Okay, so, and I caution everybody, don't put yourself in a situation like that. Make sure you can get out. But if I do have my lead rope on me, or I do have a flag, or like a stick with a flag, or a bag or something on me, I will do everything I can and shake that thing around and discourage them. Now here's where, because you're going to be scared, you're going to be worried, and so you have to figure out in your head how to calm down. And when you're shaking that thing, if they react at all and give you anything, even just this much of what you want, maybe they just lean a little, you could stop a little, you could slow down a little. You want to adjust your pressure based on what they're doing. And if you can get consistent, even within the span of probably 10 to 15 seconds, you'll get a better result from the horse to have them hook on and wonder than you would if you just went ballistic and went crazy. But you may have to go ballistic and crazy. And I don't know how it'll be received, but I don't rule out having to bonk the horse on the nose or the shoulder one time. If my safety or somebody around me, their safety is compromised. It's a last resort. But sometimes you gotta let them know. And believe me, we can't do nearly the damage that another horse can do if they go to kick out. I've seen it. Horses end up in the vet or dead, broken something, because they didn't listen to the higher horse. So I go back to my original statement, you have to be able to follow through with what you're saying or you'll be ineffective. But you don't want to drive them away. You want to have them driven but drawn. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a long explanation. Long. Okay, let's see. What else we got in here? Okay, that's that. I can get the mare away. We just can't touch her hind end while she's around food without her tail going kicking. Okay, so if you can get the horse to get away and then they go to the food, but when you go to them, they give you a hard time, I'd drive them off. I'd say, well, I'm coming in until when you the food, they should start turning outwards or moving off, just walking in. But you should be able to draw them back. That takes time and takes practice. But you need to have the drive drop. And it should be a relatively subtle nuance. Kind of like what I do with Roni, where it literally looks like that. When you can get that and then a draw, oh, you've got gold right there. That's where it's all at. If you can drive them off, but when they get back to the food, they're still sour, then you don't have the draw. You've got to get them to hook on and draw to you. And a lot of that can really just be minimal amount of just having them back up, come forward, back up, come forward. And I would do it on a lead rope, most likely. I probably wouldn't do this at liberty at first, but you could get there. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Moving on. You're going to do it. Riding's on your bucket list. Right on. Everybody cheer for Kay in the wheelchair who says she'd like to ride horses. I think it's fantastic. I saw this one lady. She doesn't even have any legs. Competing and riding very successfully. A lot better than what a lot of people do. Okay, I've heard pretty much all the horse's background. Maybe a question for a later video. What's your story? How did you get involved with the horse business? How did I get involved in the horse business? I get this question an awful lot. When I was a kid, I don't know what, I mean, I got a lot of countries that people in different countries that watch these videos. Here in North America, we have these, in Canada, I know what happens in North America and the States as well. But we have sort of 3-day or 5-day or week-long or 2-week summer vacation camps for kids where the parents just chuck the kids off and, well, whatever the parents do. I'm a parent now, so I know what I'd do. But as a kid, you get chucked off at this camp, and they got and horseback riding and camping and craft making, hiking, whatever, swimming, all kinds of really cool things. Well, one of the things was horseback riding in this one camp that I did. And so I'll never forget, I got on this horse, and it was really big. I don't think I had a helmet. I wasn't really taught much. And we kind of go wandering off. Well, my horse wandered off into a tree and literally just stood there doing nothing. Birds are everywhere. And I hated it. I hated it. I hated horses for the longest time. I thought I'll never ever do this again. And a while ago, I had the opportunity. Zeus just took off. Sorry if I was looking at him. Squirrel. I had the opportunity to try it out again. And I had a really good teacher. And she taught me a little slow at first, but it wasn't long before we just jumped right in. And we were off trail riding. And we've got beautiful trails around here. And I was hooked. And from there, I kind of went 150%. And I haven't stopped. So I wouldn't say I've been in horses that long, maybe 8 years. Yeah, that might come as a surprise to some. But when you're going 150%, it doesn't take long to really, get in tune with something. It doesn't mean that you're going to be really good. It doesn't mean that I'm really good. But there's some things that I think I do really well and continue to evolve. So that's my story. Once I kind of got into it and I got the idea and being around horses as an adult, to understand more and psychologically get it, man, I never looked back. All right. Any more questions about that? Let me know. Anna, stop going away, chat. Okay. How do you create that space without turning it into a challenge to a dominant horse? I will push and he pushes back much stronger and then my safety is at risk. It's true. I wouldn't do it with food then. I would take out any draw to something that needs to be there. For dominant horses, for horses that think they're above the human, the horses that are considering that the things that they are doing are more important than what you're doing. Boy, you have to work those horses' minds. And in some cases, I'd say fewer than 50%, fewer than 30%, you got to work the body. But I'd say 70% of the time, you're going to be working the mind. And I've got a few groundwork exercise videos that I do, and I'm going to be doing a bunch more. I've got piles planned, tons of these ideas coming to me. But a horse that thinks that it should move your feet and you shouldn't be moving their feet, that's a problem horse because they're so big. I mean, even if the little ones do that, it's just sort of, they're just a pest. Knock it off. But you've got to do the groundwork. You've got to get them to be thinking. And this can be just leading. It can be your circle exercise. You can do your leading and your driving in conjunction. So you've got them coming with you and then you move them away from you. You get them coming forward towards you. You get them going back away from you. You get them going left and around you. You get them to turn. You get them to back. You get them to go right. Turn, back. Until it gets really smooth to where they're wondering, hey, what's next? And the better you get at it, the better your communication is with them, the more they'll actually tolerate you, because they'll be a little bit more patient. Um, but all horses can get there. I don't think there's any horse that can't. So I would be really hesitant to start with food if I don't have something already on the end of a lead rope. And then just basic liberty in a round pen or arena, an open area. If I don't have that, then I probably wouldn't move up to the food. When I just did my demonstration with Gracie, I know that I based on hand signals. This is back, this can mean come forward, this will mean go that way, and this will mean I'll use my other hand to go the other way, kind of thing. And she'll listen. I know that already, I've done all that. So at liberty with food becomes another challenge. I wouldn't say you should do that unless you want a really big challenge. That's about it, maybe. Okay, any more questions? Let's see. How do you create? Okay, thank you. I'll try the lead rope. So just pet her and she gives attitude back. Her off is how you get things. Okay, horses give. This is going to be a really long live stream. Horses give, for lack of a better word right now, I'm going to say horses give attitude. Because they're scared. Mostly. I'd say 99% of the time, if your horse is giving you trouble, it's because they're scared of something. It may not be you. It may be just not having control. It may be being a little lower on the herd. They're already low enough. God, not another person they got to be below. And that's where the draw part becomes important. And a lot of the draw comes from a feel inside that you're just saying, hey, please come to me. I promise I'm just going to pet you. I'm going to make you feel good and safe and comfortable. And you can work on a multitude of things. You can work on any head shyness issues. You can work on light massage of the neck. You can work on picking up the feet. All of these things that will tell them you're going to keep them safe. They can be with you. It's fine. And that draw will get stronger and stronger where they'll naturally want to keep closer. They just will. It's much easier to do on a lead rope because you can communicate to come in or back away or move. Then a little easier than you can without one, and you can hold them to you. I mean, you don't have to force them to be with you, but you can ask them. Instead of getting the butt, they'll get more the habit of bringing their head around. Hopefully that makes sense. Kicking will stop. Kicking will stop when they think they don't have to kick you. Like biting. Kicking and biting happen because they want you to go away. Horses want people to go away because they're afraid of them. You got to make your horse feel safe. Period. All right, let's see. Where are we? Try with the lead rope. I have a very food aggressive mini. Ha! Minis. Minis are fun. Because you can kind of pick them up if you really needed to. Okay, hey, chat, stay here. Okay, I have a very food aggressive mini. No matter how flat your hand is, he will, good grief, okay. He will scrape and pinch with the front teeth to get every morsel. I don't let any one hand him feed ever. If it were me, I probably wouldn't feed my hand either. I would probably, just put stuff on the ground. If you really wanted to kind of get that going, if the horse were to come in with anything, okay, physiologically, horses' lips are very, very cool in that they can pick out a single blade of grass if they wanted to. So that tells you something. If they need to use their teeth to get to things, they're coming in too close. I would bump them back. If he starts with the lips, I'd pet him. gets any more than lips, bump them back. They're smart. Horses are wicked smart animals. And so if I was going to feed this thing, if I had to feed this thing alfalfa cubes or I don't know, whatever you're feeding the horse, and he's thinking that he needs to scrape your hand with his teeth, it seems, too much, you'd say. And I would just bump, 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 bump till the teeth kind of went away and he went back to lips. Anything other than lips would get no bump, bump, bump. And so over time, I expect it would go away. That habit would just stop. And you'd pay close attention to it. Pay very close attention to when the lips start curling back and the teeth start coming out. Because really, they can reach, a little way with so their teeth are very flat, but their lips can kind of come out like that. And so I would just watch for that and just gently bump. And when they do the right thing, pet them. Tell them they're a good horse. Whatever you do. If you've got a bump, deter, drive, do the draw. Draw them in. Let them know they're being good. They did good. The reason you're petting them right after is if they reacted in the way you wanted. If you bump, bump, bump that mouth and you say, no, I don't want you to bite. I want you to just use your lips if you're going to eat from my hand, if I'm going to feed you from my hand. But you want to be able to draw them back and not have them think you're just going to bump, bump, bump all the time. Sort of deal. So, that's how that works. Okay. Anna spurred a question for me. My 18-year-old gelding shows me respect in the pasture and leads really well. He also moves when I ask, but sometimes when he wants to get away from a scary thing or noise, he does not hesitate to push through you. Is it that I need to do more ground? I teach this to kids a lot. I will have them lead, and I will get out a pool noodle. My horses are getting a little more used to it, so I'm thinking a pool noodle sometimes doesn't work. Or a harp or a flag, something noisy. I'm a bigger influence than the child would be on the horse. So I'm the scary thing. I get to control how scary I'm going to be for that child. Or adults, I teach adults too, but when I talk about that I do this with a child, I want you to understand that even, I don't even know if this is a good way to put it, but even a child can manage this concept. So, or not manage it like mentally, but a horse can understand that even a small human can get this done. So, horses, two things to cover here. One, when horses are scared, they'll want to be close to you. And when they run you over, in their head, they're thinking, why aren't you moving? Look at that thing over there. We got to get out of here. And they're wondering why on earth you're still standing there. So that horse considers that it should be taking care of itself and you. In that case, you would do best to do a lot of groundwork, and you would do best to introduce a lot of scary things that you will work the horse through. Does that make sense? Let's see. We're going to move to a little bit different scenery. Getting a little cold sitting on the rock. But what happens is the more you do groundwork and the more you introduce scary things and the more you push your horse and reassure them and make them feel comfortable and bring them through the problem and build their confidence, when there is a scary thing, they'll check in with you. They'll see if you're scared. Because if you watch horses that are scared, they'll look to other horses to see if that horse is scared. Let's turn you guys this way a little. You guys can watch these two eat the last of their hay that I put on the ground, which is where this video started. When a horse pushes through you, they're telling you, let's get out of here, let's get going. You want them looking to you to find out if they should be taken off. And the best way that I could consider doing that, two ways to do it. One, get them used to stuff. Do more groundwork. Show them, you know, that life doesn't have to be this scary. Show them that, you know, there's lots of things that they don't have to be afraid of. And if you push them through and get them through and reassure them and calmly do it and get them to where they can do it in multiple gates and all that kind of stuff, where they don't have to think about it. You've introduced something scary, you got them through it, and over time that'll get easier and easier. You'll have a method, you'll have a technique that'll work really well for them. And they'll be really happy about that. They'll be, oh, if you're here, we're okay. And they won't go leaving. So hopefully, not always. And then they also won't be going through you. They'll be going through you less, because as you worked them through all of your problems, you will be steadily building up a technique that says, get off of me. Don't come to me. This is not a place you want to be. This space here is mine. You can worry about that tarp on the ground. You can worry about that puddle on the ground. You can worry about that rope. You can worry about that green, blue, purple, yellow, white, whatever. Your problem. My space, you stay over there. And over time, that sticks. Hopefully that makes sense. I talk a lot. Oh, thanks, Teresa. That was really nice of you. Do you have any questions? How do you get them to draw? Gotcha. Yes, thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, give it a go, Danielle. There's just so much to do, and the more you do, the better it's going to be. The stronger they'll be with you. They won't keep considering they'll consider you safe, but they won't consider you the place to be that it's. Okay, here's a great example, and I've done a few videos. I'll try my best to remember later to link to a couple of videos below. But many times when I'm trail training the horses, I'll be out and about and I'll have to get them through water. It's so common. So I'll be standing, and I always regret this. I'll be standing on a dry spot, and I'll want them to go in the water, and they'll be on a dry spot, and I'll say, come on, go in the water. I'll be moving my rope and I'll get them, and they'll come straight at me because I'm on a dry spot, or maybe I'm in a safer spot, and they'll come to me. And so you know, it's natural. Forgive your horse for running you over if they feel scared. If they are doing that, it means they think that you are the safe thing to be with. That's not so bad. It's dangerous, but it's a start. So, but in time, as you keep teaching them, they'll learn that they can be a little bit away from you and get through this problem without being in your space. So much to talk about. It's crazy talk. Crazy talk. Okay, how do you get them to draw? Getting a horse to draw, the easiest way I could explain it, the easiest way to do it is with a lead rope, for sure. If you have to do it at liberty, you better hope that you can do it in a smaller area. If you've got to try to draw a horse in an arena or a pasture, you're going to have a tough time without food, maybe. Even then, it's a big, huge maybe. Some horses don't care at all. They're not food driven. In fact, many times people will say to me, well, how do I do this with my horse? I can't get them to do, they won't come to me. I've got food. They're not food driven. Which is really what they're saying, is they're not drawn by food. The draw isn't high enough for the drive the person is creating by repelling the horse. So, how do you draw a horse? Well, first you let them know that you're safe. You got to be able to let them know that you're not going to give them trouble. You should be able to drive them at any point, and if you get really good at it, you can draw them at any point. Let's see if I can draw Gracie. I'll show you what I might do. I hope this shows up. It's an hour-long live stream. It's crazy talk. My tea got cold. Okay. So, I'm going to draw her through a little bit of drive and direction. When she comes to me, I'm going to reward her. So hopefully the draw will be that she'll want reward. Now she's already coming. Okay. That's draw. That's draw. That's draw. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let's put this here. Draw doesn't have to be, let's see, how do I say this? Okay, draw doesn't have to be where they come right in. Draw doesn't have to be where they follow you around like a lost puppy kind of idea. Draw can be simply that they may just turn in a little, you know, where, say for example, their nose is like this, and you drive them and I'm here, so this is me, and I drive them and they go this way, and I come back and I draw, and their nose kind of comes in. It's not long before their whole body comes this way. Sorry, I'm here. So I don't know if you could hear me. I'm gonna see if I can check this video later to see if it turns out okay. But essentially, the draw comes if they look like they're interested in being with you. And you can continue to encourage the draw by releasing them from the drive. So when she comes around, when she draws around to me, I'm going to go and meet her part way, or all the way. I'll come. How do I explain this? in a two-dimensional picture. If she has her body straight, but I'm here, but she turns her head a little, I'm gonna come around to here. Okay? If she gets good at this, it won't be long before she'll do this, and then this, and then this, and then this. But I have to reward every tiny little thing. I have to make her feel good about doing that, about coming and meeting me as I go to meet her. We have to have this communication. There has to be safety. You can drive and you can be scary, and that's easy to do. Anybody can do that. So we go back to the concept that what we're doing is right. We're trying to make them feel safe. No two ways about it. You get a horse that's scared, they'll check out on you so fast you won't know what to do with yourself. Like, where'd my horse go? They'll be gone. Because they're afraid and they're flight animals. So, you know, that's too bad. That's hard, you know, when they get that way. And then you got to try to bring them back even from more of that. If you're working at Liberty, it's much harder. But you can actually get a lot done with Liberty, which is, I did a video a while back about why I don't have a round pen. Why I don't have my rounded corners, round pen arena kind of deal. And actually I find it that I see a lot of the gaps by having corners, by having areas that a horse can escape into and get away from me and be far away. I'm going to cover more on that in the future because it's a really, really good one, I think. So, you know, you have to be able to draw them in. You have to be able to forgive them for being scared, for being frustrated, for being worried, and somehow let them know that it's okay, that they're with you. I don't know if I know a better way of explaining that just yet, but you have to find a way kind of like that, where I'll drive a little, but every opportunity I'll come around and see if she'll meet me head to head, because that's what horses do. When they want to talk, they go head to head. They go nose to nose. They'll square up. They'll be, you know, not perpendicular, perfectly parallel, but straight on. You want to be treated like that. You want them to look to you, and you should be able to respond accordingly. Okay, let's see. Teresa says, I'm fixing the move and my horse will be going from a barn to a green field of grass. Woo! Right now he eats hay and grain. Is there anything I need to do that will help him adjust? No. Horses very, very, very readily move on to grass. I will say though, be aware that when you take a horse off of dry hay and possibly low sugar hay or hay that is sort of maybe a little bit lower on the nutritional scale, and most likely definitely the sugar scale. And I'm sure if you have the time, you could read up on the concept of laminitis, the concept of high sugar food, that is going to be even high grains. Like some grains are just flooded with sugars. Not just things like molasses, but actual sugars within the materials of the feed itself. And horses have a really hard time absorbing and using that extra energy, and it shows up in other parts of their body, mostly their hooves. You will very likely see a change in the hoof structure by going on to grass, just grass. And depending on how lush the grass is, how warm it is there, how cold it is there, how much sun they get, how much, you know, how cloudy it is, whether or not that grass holds a lot of its sugars, whether they get a lot of it. Some horses can get quite chubby, quite fat. I've got a couple horses in my care being on pasture has completely changed their body, and I trim their hooves, and it is a whole new experience compared to being on hay. Hay you can regulate. These guys eat the same hay all the time. One food, continuous kind of deal. And that hay um, doesn't fluctuate, or shouldn't fluctuate, depending on where you get it from. But it doesn't fluctuate in when they get it. So sometimes if you're on pasture and it gets really, really sunny, and maybe it rained the day before and then it gets super sunny, and all of a sudden the grass is like, woo, let's start growing, and it grows up like crazy, you're going to get a lot of high sugar hay that the horses are just going to go nuts for. Nuts. And if that were to keep up for a bit, they'll get pretty chubby. They get a little chubby, and their hooves will grow like crazy. You might have to keep up with a higher trim schedule, which would be good. There's no harm in that. But keep an eye on those kinds of things. But as for changing food, God, no, horses love being on pasture. I wish I could stick all my horses on pasture. All right, next question. I can work them, and all of a sudden they'll come and follow me without anything. As soon as there's food there, like, forget it. If you have a problem that exists based on an environmental change that didn't exist before, you always had the problem, is the best way I could put it. So the good thing is that you get to discover, okay, so you've got the horse working great, you can do your circles, you can do your groundwork, they can follow you around, they can lead nicely, they can keep their space, they can drive, they can draw, you can ride them, whatever your method of passing them, through your gauntlet of this is what a good horse looks like. They do all that, and then you introduce something different, another horse, food, a scary noise, a windy day, rain, snow, who cares what it is, doesn't matter. And you find that they are not responding in the same way that in a normal environment, then you've got a gap. And you have to continue to go back to the basics in those different environments. So your environment, in a normal sense, say I do the work in the arena. We ride, I do all of my groundwork, I do all of my basic riding, walk, trot, canter out there. Make sure it's good, steering is good, stopping is good, backing is good, left and right is good. Front end, back end is good. I can separate the two. Maybe I can do some sidestepping, maybe I can get a little bit more up there. And then I head out. And you get out to some field somewhere, some path, some trail, and it's, their brain explodes. Well, you got to go back to the basics and see how far you can get down the line of the things that you can do to where you're back to where you should be. Hopefully that makes sense. You got to put in the time and effort and patience, encouragement, reassurance. Have them look to you, not necessarily like you're the boss, but that you know what you're talking about. They will naturally follow. Horses are natural followers. They are herd animals. They will follow given the opportunity. Okay, live chat. What do we got now? Don't be sorry for asking questions. Questions are good. Yep. Thank you very kindly, Teresa and Daniel. Hopefully I've answered some good questions there. That makes sense. I think we're going on over an hour of time here. It's actually starting to get a little dark. A little bit. Horses are quiet. I don't know if it'll show up here, but these guys are just chilling out. There. Ruli's there. Vina's way over there. Oop, there. Vinny's down at the end. Over there. Peggy and Luke are doing great. Just chilling out together. I finally finished the footing of the forest paddock for all my regular viewers. Gonna work on the arena next. Okay, everybody, hopefully that's been interesting. I never expected to go this long. Great questions. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I'll see if I can't get something out pretty quick here. I've got some pile of ideas. I finished appointments today. So I should be around to get something done. It's supposed to start raining though. Good thing we have a covered arena. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody's contributions and questions and comments and I will see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, that's it for now.